Sure. Here's the test. We the people of the United States in order for a more perfect union. Hello, Dr. Thomas, like you're coming. Hello, Dr. Thomas.
Feel free to sit right up here.
Come in. I think Stephanie will be coming.
Where are you?
Sorry. Down. And then Ohio is in a meeting for school, so you know that. Okay, with that, are we got a transcription?
Yeah, it's, hello again, pretty delayed, but it should work. It's picking up everything that I'm seeing. So if anything does happen, I'll let you know.
And they're hearing us, right?
Yeah, everybody, are you able to hear us online? Just give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Yep, we can.
Awesome.
Okay,
Okay, cool. Put on with it then.
okay, perfect. Right on time. I now call this meeting. Perfect. I now call this meeting of the Madison College Student Senate General Assembly to order on Thursday, March 17th, 2025 at 4:31 p.m. At this moment, can we get a roll call?
Roll call starts now. President Brito,
Here I am.
VP Tao present. Vice President of Legislative Affairs Hashmi,
Present.
Vice President of Team Development Salifu,
Present.
Vice President of Public Relations Jackson Winters,
Present.
Advisor Flynn,
Present.
and two senators from Trucks campus. Senator Vila,
He says present top line.
Senator Silva Browner,
Present.
Senator Rapture,
You're right on time. Let's call. Are you here?
Say present. I am here, yes.
Okay.
Senator Lario,
Senator Villarreal is present.
Senator Rich Goose,
I
Present.
didn't hear you. Oh, okay. Yes, yes, sir.
Senator Matson,
Present. Thank you.
Senator Portillo,
I'll-
Senator West,
Haven't heard from him, right?
Absent.
Senator Fernandez,
He's here.
Present.
That's, yeah, so we'll work on that. Should we say, Mendoza? Fernandez?
Oh, sure,
Yeah, yeah, okay, we'll work on it, yeah. Next time.
move to senators from regional and metro campuses. Portage Senator Crowder,
Did you hear me? I'm present.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Reedburg Senator Stacy Browner,
There.
Fort Atkinson Senator Dirks,
Just put something in the chat. Second.
I know you may have to leave early too, but I don't know the full situation.
And if you're here, can you just give a thumbs up or put it in the chat?
Okay.
Oh, all right, he's here. He's responding. Having issues with his camera, he's letting us know. We're good to go with that.
Is the microphone working or
Who's come?
is microphone working or you just say?
He's having technical issues.
Okay.
But he gave me a thumbs up saying that he was here.
Okay, great. We'll just, do we have quorum?
yes, we do.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome to our General Assembly meeting of the Madison College Student Senate. This is a public meeting and it'll be recorded for transparency and record-keeping purposes. We're going to cover a few basic items before beginning. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. To senators and other members online, please activate your video and keep it on for the duration of the meeting when possible. Use the raise hand feature when you'd like to be recognized to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote. As chair, I'll do my best to call on committee members in the order in which hands are raised. Lowering your hand will take you out of the queue. At this moment in time, can we pull up the minutes from last week? Yep. Lando isn't able to speak on this, so we'll just talk. We did some public commentary from Corey Prissinger, the Chief Information Officer for Madison College. Talked a little about that. We had a presentation from Student Activities Board, and then we did a vote right afterwards, and we approved the SAB budget unanimously. We had our normal reports, and then for new business, we did a general senator application for our newest senator, Vincent Mendoza Fernandez. So congratulations, thank you. We suspended some items there, and then we passed bill number 4, establishing Senate alternates. That's the general meeting. Do we have any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
And that raised the hand.
Annette, is that a motion to approve?
That is.
Okay, second from VP Salifu. Okay, any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
So, when we discussed the memorandum of understanding, it says Senator Rafter is currently working on getting this document into the format of a resolution. But that is actually not how it's panned out. In fact, I has done the majority of the work on that. I would like to put forward that I'd like to work on that with you this
With me on the
weekend,
weekend.
but I think it might be prudent to change this, in the digital recording of it.
That was what was said though last meeting, right? Is that accurate? Was it accurate or that was said last meeting?
Sort of, although I wasn't currently working on it then, I offered to reformat it.
So you want that to be reflected in the minutes? You
Yes.
can have that.
That would be nice.
Are you okay with that, Annette?
Shake his head, yes.
Okay, yeah, what would you like it to say?
I guess you could just say Senator Rafter offered to get this document format. for resolution.
Someone write that in the chart. We have. Give me a sec. Okay, well, we do care about the details. Okay, with that, any further discussion? I'll send it to you for approval later on, if that's the only thing, so. Cool. Okay, voting minutes approval, if no one's opposed, passes in 5, 4, 3, 2, anyone online? Not connected yet, no one online? Okay, motion carries. Moving on to the agenda. Just pull that quick. Why? Perfect. So we'll just go over that. We have some public comments today from Jerry Hartwig, web content manager, and Deanna Havey, IT project manager. From the student website feedback, we have Stephanie Belmont, director of the Center for International Education. Dr. Mark Thomas is here as well. Talk about concerns over student visa status with federal government compliance. We have our normal reports. We have from last week, WTSS refund policy work group feedback, as well as stipend rubric update. We've already sent that out. We just want to go over it so you know how to fill that out. We have bill number 4, updating Senate Merit Award guidelines. Bill number 5, guidelines for writing legislation, and resolution number, I believe it's 13. It could be 14. I might have got that wrong. But MOU for regional nursing students. I wasn't able to finish it, so that's my bad. So I will continue to work on that over the weekend. It sounds like Senator Rafter offered to work on it when you're free on potentially Sunday. So we'll see. But with that, if that all looks good to you, any further discussion on this? Seeing none, then we can do a motion to approve. Motions.
And that, raise your hand, one.
And that motions, is that a motion or just approve?
Move to approve.
Or question? Vote to approve, second from VP Jackson Winters. Any further discussion? So none, motion carries in 5, 4, 2, 3, 2. I'm skipping numbers there. Okay, thank you very much. Looks like we can move to public comment now, but before we do that, just welcome some people in the room. Do you just want to introduce yourselves, who you are and what you'll be talking about? So we'll start here, I guess, since it's my left, and that's stage, right? So go for it. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Corey Switzel. Some of you know, I was just recently elected, so I'm going to be one of the new faces in Senate, so I'm really happy to be here. I just want to get an overall impression of what it's like to be here in Student Senate. So I'm really, really happy to be accompanied by all of you. As of recently, I just heard about what had happened. It was just fortunate. So I just want to hear just the overall census or just the overall feelings we have about this and how we're going to navigate it as a student body. So yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that. For you,
My name is Anna. I'm just here listening.
we've seen you here before, so I made you introduce yourself with that, but if you'd like to introduce yourself.
My name is Ari Nichols. I am the incoming VP of Public Relations. I am here due to recommendation from the current VP of Public Relations that I attend.
Oh, thank you for recruiting. Okay, thank you for being here. And then, friendly face.
Hi there, I'm Kelly Fang. I know most of you from Student Life or SAB or the Clarion, or I've even interviewed a few of you. I think I interviewed Dr. Thomas a few years ago. But let's see, I'm here primarily to listen to the concerns about the student media, about the student visas, and just take all of that in and make sure the Clarion presents student voices anonymously or whatever, or if needed, not,
Okay.
we're just sort of here to, we're not got a story assigned or anything like that, but we would like to hear about the concerns.
And Kelly's the editor-in-chief of the Clarion,
We
for
gotta
those
talk
that
about
didn't know. That's okay, we're here to hype you up, so.
Yeah, so.
Okay, okay, with that, we can start with the student website feedback from Jody Hartwig, a web content manager, and Deanna Havey, IT project manager. They came to SAB. I wasn't there. I was late due to tax season, so I'll be getting to hear it for the first time. But without further ado, go for it.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am going to say Deanna is unable to make it, but my co-pilot for the afternoon is Wendy Franzik. She is a web content coordinator on my team, and we're really happy to be here. We only have a few minutes, and that's fine. My ask is that we could take just a few minutes to talk about the student website, students.madisoncollege.edu. And I believe Wendy's going to add a couple things in chat to make this easier. As the web manager for Madison College, it's my privilege to help manage some of our primary websites. And the student website is top of mind, top of list. It's a very important resource, but we built it and we manage it for you. You as students, all the different types of students, all the different needs that you have. Today you're going to be talking about some of the specific needs and concerns of our international students. We want the student website to speak for them, for transfer students, for new students, for continuing program students, all of you. So we hope that you find the student website user-friendly, that you're able to easily access information that you need. But we want to hear from you what your needs are and whether we can improve the student website on your behalf. So just as we did when we launched the website, we asked for your feedback. So Wendy's going to share, I think, a link to a survey that we have created specifically for you as students. We have a separate survey that's been sent out to faculty and staff, and we're going to use all of that feedback along with our own analysis and web traffic data and other tools that we have to bring all of that work together and come up with the next plan for the student website. So we hope to continue that work over the summer and have a plan in place by fall. So with that, I can just ask that I hope you as Student Senate members can give your own feedback by taking the survey, and I'd also ask that you share the survey out with other students. As mentioned, we've been in front of Student Activities Board, and we've asked for some help from Student Life and other student affairs areas to help us spread the word. But a student asking a student to provide feedback, there's power in that. So we hope that you'll do that as well. We do have a couple minutes. Are there any questions that I could address right now here? Otherwise, any and all feedback is happy. It looks like Annette has a question.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to mention that one of the things I feel like the website is lacking is all the wonderful low cost items that Madison College offers, like the the dental cleanings, the optical. I hear that we're also able to potentially utilize some minor repairs for vehicles. And I don't see that information readily available anywhere on the student portion of things. And we are definitely the people that are on budget. So I just would like somehow those resources, even though they're not necessarily, able to accommodate every student, but just knowing that it's available and it's a possibility can be helpful.
Awesome. Thanks, Annette. I appreciate any and all feedback. So all feedback is good. There is no bad feedback. Is there anyone else with a question?
Yes, there's someone in the room. Nevaeh.
Okay, sorry, I can't see that.
No, that's fine. I couldn't see people online. So.
Hi, thanks for coming. So I was just wondering, do you guys have like a committee in place, or would you guys be interested in having a committee of students? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can
Having
hear
a committee of students working on just like promoting student website feedback, the surveys, and just giving any insight. Like, would you be interested in that?
Absolutely. That's the number one purpose for the website is to get feedback. We want to get holistic feedback. So students, we also know that the student website is used by faculty and staff primarily in support of you as students. So we want to get their feedback as well, but you are definitely top of mind. So if you have ideas on how to make the ask more robust, we're all ears, and you're welcome to connect with me in Teams, give me a call, whatever ideas you have, we would welcome.
Thank you so much.
Senator Rep. Oh,
Lando.
oh,
My
sorry.
name's Lando, Quinn, and then Declan will be our.
Okay, my bad. I'm not understanding how this works. Thank you.
Hello, Jody. Thank you for being here. I was
Hey,
actually at the SAB meeting. It was last week Friday when you came in and presented to us. So I did think of at least another question in between that time that we last heard you discuss. So I guess generally as a student here, I'm not as familiar with Navigate. I know that's been sort of a system that students can use to connect with like faculty members, book appointments, and then create like study groups. And I feel like that hasn't been promoted as much recently. And so I know there's a link on the website to it, but I was just wondering if you guys had any sort of plans to do more promotion for that, because I think that is a useful app, especially when it comes to booking the appointments. I feel like a lot of the appointments that I've booked with instructors have been via, just going into their office hours and just doing it there, or using Microsoft Teams and setting up a meeting that we schedule out for, a certain day of the week. So I wonder, are we going to continue to I guess, promote Navigate on the website in the future?
That's a really good question, Landon. I guess what I can say about promoting Navigate on the website, we will absolutely do that. as you know, as long as it's a tool that's useful for students. I can say that not only is there a quick and easy access link to navigate, but there's informational content on the website for people who maybe are just starting with Madison College and they need to know more about Navigate, what it is as a tool, what it can be used for, and all of that. I am not the team that actively manages the use of Navigate. And so I can't really speak to the longevity or what the plans are for the tool itself, like what its roadmap is. But if there's interest in Student Senate and trying to learn more about Madison College's plans for Navigate, I can certainly put your group in touch with the team that manages that application.
Okay.
All
And
right.
really quick before we go to the next person, is there a, sorry, we're a little out of time, so I'm gonna cut this one
Yeah.
short, Linda. Is there like a survey that we could like potentially have people fill out? Like, is there,
Yes,
or do we just send it to you directly?
absolutely.
Yeah, are you
And
seeing the
Okay.
link in chat? It's the first,
Oh, sorry, is that in the chat? Oh, I now see the
No
link in
problem.
chat. Yes, thanks
Um,
for drawing our attention to it. Just making
yeah.
sure. Okay.
Can you
we-
also confirm you can open that PDF? Jody might need to update the permissions on it if you're unable to open it.
You are next.
I'm actually
Wendy.
not seeing it, so I don't know if I have access to the whole chat. I will make sure that the survey link and we do have a flyer that's promoting it. I will make sure that they are in the chat even
Anyone
after.
see? Oh,
I got this.
okay, so
The Navigate guy.
Jody, if you'd like to, you can send the information to the Senate email or to myself. And I'll make sure I'll send it out to all Senate.
Perfect.
okay,
I just
thank you. And then we're
posted
only
it
gonna take-
again. Is it coming? Are my posts coming through?
I
I don't
see.
think I see it, but well, let's talk to Cole afterwards and then we'll get it. And maybe you won't have it right now, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you.
I'll send you an email
Yeah.
that can go out to everybody.
Perfect.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll take the last two questions. That'll be
Okay.
Quinn and Declan. So Quinn first.
Okay, I'll try to make this brief. Jody, thank you for coming in, and Wendy for listening to our concerns, taking our feedback. One thing that I don't think is really on the website at all that feels like an important part of Madison College to me is the sustainability and energy efficiency of this building. I learned a lot about this building in an environmental science class I took last semester, and I've been working with Sylvia Ramirez on a decarbonization academy project here at Madison College. And one thing that we were saying is like, we don't really advertise like the steps that we've taken as an institution towards more energy efficiency and sustainability. And if there could just be like a page somewhere that made it, I know the information's out there, but it's just not made really clear or accessible or upfront or easy to find, is a thought that we've had.
Awesome. Thank you, Quinn. I appreciate the feedback. Sometimes there's information that we think will definitely promote Madison College, and so you may find it on the main website, madisoncollege.edu. But from a student perspective, I can understand, it sounds like it's definitely an interest of yours. So again, we'll take any and all feedback. We'll try to find a way to meet the needs. And we appreciate the time of everyone here, taking the survey, sharing it out. So we'll make sure that we get that all to you soon.
Thank you. Moving on with our last question, Declan, Senator Rafter.
Yeah, so I just checked out this survey in the link, and it looks pretty good. I see a lot of like ordinal ranking variables here and stuff like that. I don't see any demographic questions. So I'm wondering, what questions are you looking to answer? What hypotheses are you looking to test with this survey?
That's also a great question. we have a lot of open-ended questions, so we're looking for any and all feedback in some specific areas. But from a real quantitative standpoint, we're also looking to validate and confirm work that went into the website based on 5 tactical goals that we had for the website. So you'll see that as you progress through the survey. Our hypothesis is the website, we created X in the student website to help us with Y. And so we'd like your evaluation of that, and then any open-ended feedback in addition to that you'd like to give. So I hope that helps.
Okay, yeah, and then I just have one more follow-up question about confounds. So with any survey like this, you're going to deal with a lot of self-selection bias. Is that a concern for a survey like this? I mean, I'm just thinking about from recent study on my end.
I mean, there's potential. I think, again, our plan is to get as much feedback as we can, but use that in a balanced approach with all the other things that we're doing. So again, faculty, staff, feedback, student feedback, our own analysis. I have 30+ years in website development and user best practice. So taking sort of my own lens, then as well as some robust data, and we'll kind of mold all of that into a plan. So the survey isn't everything, but it can certainly help us, you know, prioritize, uncover different perspectives around a similar thing. But yeah, at this point, I'm not sure how much I can expect in terms of you know, data significance. So we'll try to see. We do plan to have the student survey open through the 2nd of May. So that gives you a couple weeks. I know it's a busy time, but.
So are you looking to get around 350 to 400 responses, like, or more than that?
I actually don't have that number here, but for students, it would, yeah, roughly be about that. Faculty, staff, a little less. So we will see what we do. I do have, there will be flyers and emails being sent out to other student groups through the help of Student Affairs and Student Life. So yeah, we are looking for hundreds of responses.
Perfect. And you can continue to partner with Student Senate and things like the student liaison for the district board to get the word out there. And maybe Declan in his final weeks can maybe make a final push to get the magic numbers. That's all the time we have. We do have everyone's email. So if you have any further questions, anyone in the room, feel free to email them. They're going to send out the link to Cole and he'll distribute it to Student Senate so we can fill it out. So
Perfect,
thank you to,
thanks.
Yeah, so Jody Hartwig that showed up today. And Deanna, he wasn't able to be there. And then Wendy, Franzak?
You got it. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Cole. So, okay, thank you very much. We appreciate having you here. Yes, goodbye to that. Okay, thank you. With that, we can move on to our next public comment. This is concerns over student visa status with federal government compliance. We do have Stephanie Belmont, Director of the Center for International Education, in the room with us online. That's the only way she can make it work for us, but we do appreciate having her here, as well as Dr. Mark Thomas, who, you know, our favorite, well, I can't say that, one of our favorites for coming to the room. He's one of our favorite Madison College cabinet members, which they're all of our favorites, so we can say that. There we go. How I got around that one. Yeah, and I do want to say that, you know, we do appreciate having you all here, and this is a big topic. I know there's a lot of unknowns, and some of the questions that we wrote up today, we might not have the answers to, and that's okay. The important thing is like creating the communication channels so that we can ask the questions and that we all work together to advocate on behalf of the students. A couple of things I wanted to say here is that, you know, this is a very stressful time. There may be some students in the room that are interested to have some questions. If they want it to be asked anonymously, they can let us know, or if you aren't physically in the room, you can tell me and then I can ask the question on your behalf. Or I think you set up something where, people know if they had a question, they could ask us and we could read it on behalf of them. So there's things to take into account. Additionally, Kelly, if you wanted to say your statement.
Yeah, we're here as the Clarion. We're hoping to support the international students. I'll just speak from my experience with the Clarion. I kind of speak for Doug and, Kai has contributed, all the contributors over the year, but once a month we usually interview or spotlight one of the students at Madison College. And over the past 2.5 years, many of them have been the international students. And so I just wanted to kind of talk about some of them and, spotlight them, and because they're a big reflection of the international student body here. We have Flor, Nakima, and Kai, tell me if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong. We have Flor that graduated from last year. She's literally working on bringing electricity back to Burkina Faso. We have Josephine Sacrato. She's the one that we focused on this month. She's working on seizure detection and mitigation to create a watch an app in the context of a third world country. We have Iman Al-Shared. She is an alumni. She's from Syria. She shared her struggle leaving Syria in 2010 and how her life is today, especially after the overthrow of the government. And we have Giovanni. Most of you know him. He's the last year's state student president, the Senate president. And Sama Balda, just kind of an ordinary representative of the state Wisconsin Senate. So these are just a few that we've interviewed, and they really reflect our student body. So just as somebody that reports about the student voices, or we reflect the student voice, we just are concerned about where we're going with that, because the people I've listed, which I think reflect much of the international student body, these aren't garden variety students. These are superstars. They're not here to do paper mache or anything like that. They're really here to make a change in the world. And they're really important to us. And I think they're important to the Madison College's future.
Thank you for the introduction. Okay, with that, I had a few statements to read, which come from questions that we read out. So I just wanted to set the stage. And we'll just read this out. So as of April 15th, 2025, it has been confirmed that offices of the U.S. federal government have terminated Student and Exchange Visitor Information System records, or SEVIS, for now 3 international students. Previously at the Madison College District Board meeting last Wednesday, Interim President Dr. Tim Casper announced that 1 student had their record revoked, which has caused concern among students that this may be a growing trend of visa terminations that we'll continue to see on campus. We do understand Madison College did not play any role in the decision-making process for these terminations. We do want to ensure that students have the resources available to make the necessary and tough decisions as they deal with the impacts regarding their visa status. In order to advocate on behalf of our international students, we have questions to clarify how Madison College will actively support students as they withstand the challenges and difficulties of losing their student visa status. We had a list of questions, but I wanted to give you 2 a chance to introduce yourselves first before we just launch into them. So I don't know if Stephanie, since she was listed first, if you could.
I was just going to say a
Okay.
quick intro and then hand things over to Stephanie. And
Perfect.
we want to answer all those questions
Yep.
that you guys sent over. And when we're looking for an answer, we'll tell you we don't know. And
Yep, that's
we'll go through
totally
everyone.
fine, and we can work on finding it.
And just wanted to really briefly say that the college administration has been on top of this and monitoring this and concerned about this and crying about this, literally, for the last week or 2 since it's been happening. We've put together a frequently asked questions sheet that's gone out to all of our international students. It's posted on the website, so that could be a resource. We'll pop it in the chat. You can look at that. That's on the general available website. And it's been sent out to all the faculty and staff who have students who've been identified as international students, so they know what to do if students come to them. And then we are just working on what a broader, many of you probably received a broad all-student communication from Vice President Tina Hato. We've also sent a similar thing out to all employees. And we've been responding to interview requests, CNN, AP, local media. So it's been front of mind and keeping a lot of people up late trying to address this because we love all of our students, including international students. And you may not know, so we have our Center for International Education, CIE, you'll hear us refer to it as, and Stephanie is the director of the Center for International Education, and her team is who's working hand in hand with all of our international students about their concerns and trying to address them as best as we can. So I'll turn it over to Steph then.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Stephanie Belness. I'm the director for the Center for International Education. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit about my experience in working with international students. I've been working with international students since about the year 2000. I was working at UW-Madison. I volunteered with UW-Madison initially, and then in 2001 through 2008 was hired to work as an international student advisor. And so there I got to really work with, thousands and thousands of international students on a regular basis and got a very in-depth understanding of the visa regulations. And then in fall of 2008 was when I was hired by Madison College to really establish the international student program for Madison College. The college at that time did have the authorization to support students on the visa, but there hadn't been any dedicated individual to really develop that program. And so my position was created, the position was created, and I was hired to do that. And it's just been an absolute privilege and an honor to work with Madison College and support Madison College students throughout the past 16 years going on now. So that's a little bit about my experience, but it really has been central and focused on supporting international students. Dr. Thomas mentioned the FAQ. I did put a link to the new FAQ resource in the chat. We've been working on that for the last week, ever since we started, week and a half really, ever since we started hearing more of these incidences happening in the news. We began working on the FAQ, and it was able to be published and approved through legal services and with Dr. Casper late last night. So we got that published today and sent out to the international students, and we're routing it through other channels to ensure that others can be aware that this resource exists. And we really are looking at this as something that will be added to and updated as needed and as situations change. So I hope that proves helpful, and we can go through the questions. Did you want me to just go through them one by one, or did you,
I think we could, Steph. I think they've allotted
Sure.
a good chunk of time for us. I think it'd be great if they could hear the responses
Yeah.
to each of them.
I could-
Just going through them, I knew off the top of my head we had answers to all of them, so I
Yeah.
think that would probably be helpful for them
Yeah.
if we have the time.
Yeah,
Well,
you want
I-
us to read it or?
She's,
I-
I think
Oh,
she's
great.
got it.
if you'd like to, I have them right here as well. So however you'd like to go about that.
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay. All right. So
Thank you.
for the first one, please tell us any information you can about why the student visas were revoked. Did the students receive any communication, such as a letter or email from the federal government? So there's a couple of things, a detail I want to make clear, and this is clarified in the FAQ. There's one thing that is a visa revocation, and then there's another thing that's called the SEVIS termination. So the SEVIS system is a database that our office has access to. It's a federal database, and it really helps us to help the students maintain their visa status. And so the visa is issued by the U.S. Department of State, and that is basically just the permission to enter the country. Once they're in the country, what's the critical piece is to maintain visa status, and that's where that SEVIS system comes into place. So when the question is, were we notified or about the visa revocation, the answer is no. The colleges or school officials are not notified about visa revocations. In theory, it is the student themselves that are notified about that, but what we are hearing is that in practice, that notification is going to an email address or a mailing address that was used at the time that they applied for the visa, and that may have been several years ago. And so they aren't always consistently getting the message that the visa was revoked. But it's the student that again, in theory, you should be receiving the notification about the visa revocation. A visa revocation isn't necessarily tied to the SEVIS termination, but what we are seeing is that in this case, there seems to be, that's what the federal government is doing at the moment. And so what the SEVIS the SEVIS termination, excuse me, is what we can actually see in the SEVIS database, but we are not actually like directly notified. We don't get an email communication or some kind of alert that pops up or anything like that if this happens. Instead, there is a query that we can run in the SEVIS system, and that will tell us which records have been terminated in the past several months. And so what we are doing is multiple times a day, we are running that query and looking for any new names. And if there are new names on that list, then we reach out to the student very, very quickly. We're saying within 24 hours, but it's usually within an hour or so of us finding that. Any follow-up questions with that?
Joe, you kind of even answered the next question over. Will Madison College continue to monitor the database? It sounds like you will.
Yes, and I will say, so we did have one student last week, Wednesday, and then the next day, there were 2 additional students that showed on the list. And since that time, we have not thankfully had any additional names show on that list.
So it's a total of 3 is what I've read?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And what national trends are showing, initially, different schools were reporting that the termination reason listed in the system were saying kind of different things, or, you know, being a little bit more specific. Now the statement is very general, and it's saying that the SEVIS record was terminated due to a visa revocation and or the record appearing in a criminal records check. And that and or adds a lot of, you know, just what's the word? It's very vague. It doesn't allow for any definitive anything. And what I really want everyone here to understand is that the phrasing of and or records found in a criminal search, I just really want to emphasize that these students are not criminals, and the phrasing of that is, I find it problematic. For non-immigrant visa holders, even being arrested at any point in time, even if that charge was dismissed, even if they were released, that ultimately can still be shown as having some sort of contact with the law, and that is enough to be deemed criminal in this context. But it's, you know, I guess I won't say anything more about that. And again, it's and or. And so sometimes in many of these cases, it's simply the visa was revoked. We don't have any reasons for why the visa was revoked, and it has absolutely nothing to do with any type of criminal activity or run-in with the law of any sort. It's just the visa was revoked, and we don't have any information on that. So again, I want to emphasize that that's not something we want to paint on this wonderful group of students as the woman from the Clarion introduced them. These are truly the world's best and brightest coming to our campus. Okay, going forward, yes, we're monitoring. When Madison College contacts the students about their visa status, what message do they send? And are they able to connect students to legal resources to challenge the student visa decision? So yes, we are contacting them right away. We have a template message that lets them know what date the record was terminated, which they're getting the message the same day, what the reason was. But again, we're seeing nationwide, it's just a standard template message that is not unique to them in any way. And then we're providing links to the fact page now, and then the legal resources is a list within that. Now, the element of to challenge the student visa decision, that is something that's really going to be a matter of discussion with the immigration attorney. There are certainly some litigation cases popping up here and there throughout the United States that are challenging this. But ultimately, what we are wanting, we're really wanting the student to really think about what they need to do for themselves in this situation. That may or may not be to challenge the decision, and maybe just to simply figure out what their options are, or if they have any other, what the risks are and what their options are. So anything further in that regard? I'm not able to really monitor the chat very well. So if there's any questions,
No,
questions that come up, let me know, please.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
good. The only thing I might add is on the resource list, I saw many, maybe this is the wrong time to think about it, but like many like male lawyers. There is a female immigration lawyer I do know of, Shabnam Lotfi. I can connect you with her. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think it'd be nice to promote some diversity within the lawyers that we're
Yeah, no,
offering.
I absolutely appreciate that. The list that we have posted on the FAQ at the moment, we received from the college's legal counsel. And since then, I've already heard of another list that was being provided by the Community Immigration Law Center, which I've worked with for many, many years. And so that to be, as we have more resources, more information we can share to that. So, and I believe Shabnam, I do believe I've seen her name on that list. I have also connected with Shabnam on various student support cases in the past.
Nice.
But really great point there, Kai. Thank you. Let's see here. Can the college administration ask students if they would like to identify themselves and get them in contact with the Student Senate, Clarion Media, and other resources to inform the campus if they wish to do so? Mark, I would welcome you to share your thoughts on this one as well. I personally would really not feel comfortable even suggesting that, just because of the nature of the potential risks with identity being known. And so I think if they wanted to, they could talk to me and say, like, I want to make my story known, or something like that. And they would, and if they asked, I could certainly do that. But I wouldn't want sharing the resources be misconstrued as me encouraging that or wanting that in any way. Dr. Thomas?
I'd say as a blanket statement, I would ask everyone to refer everyone to the Center for International Education.
Okay.
We're providing the FAQ sort of broadly so that it can sort of get out to students. But the two things we really want them to know is that the experts on campus are the Center for International Education, and they should consult an attorney for their own legal purposes. And the reason why is for the sake of the student, to make sure they get the most accurate, consistent information and not like someone's interpretation of the facts. So we're trying to just make sure that every student who has questions about it goes to Center for International Education so that they get a consistent, accurate response. So that's what we're really encouraging everyone to do. And if they want to have a conversation with Steph or her staff about that, that's great. And Steph and her staff can help them through that. They're best positioned at the college to do that, though. So we're trying to encourage everyone to.
That's fine.
Encourage everyone to encourage everyone.
We just wanted to ask because we wanted to find ways for people to advocate for themselves that weren't publicly shared. So I know that we've already met some international students that are willing to go on the record. Well, they're willing to say words or make statements, but not have their name shared because of the drastic nature of how these visas are getting.
And I will tell you, there's a lot of data and personal information and stuff like that that the college has about, all students and all employees. And that's kept very private in the separate units that have those. No one's more private and concerned about student privacy than Center for International Education.
Purple baby.
Steph doesn't tell me who the students are. I just know there's another one, And so to the extent that we can have confidence in their confidentiality and the fact that they are strictly here to serve the students. I understand the fear, but also understand that we take it really, really, really seriously. privacy about student information.
Okay, thank you. That's encouraging to hear.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, you can ask a question.
Okay, so I have two questions. For the student who get the service revoked, and I suppose they still have to they're supposed to have 1 or 2 semesters left. How they're supposed to do? Since like they have the service revoked and they already enrolled and had they had the I-20 for about like 2 or 3 years. What are they supposed to do about the classes? And also someone in the group chat asked like, if they already paid the tuition for this semester and get the service revoked, how that is going to work? Because they already paid the tuition for the whole semester. And also my next question is, that would be 3 questions, sorry. So you refer the student to like some lower so that can help them, but is the college like help them to pay the fee with the lower? Because I think that is also a part of like, as an international student, you probably do not like, you're not doing it for this kind of situations. And we know that in US, like have a lawyer is really expensive. So how the college is supporting these like students to pay for like the lower and to like have like the situation fixed. So that is my question.
The first 2 questions we will answer through the FAQ staff. But I don't think we have the third question, right? The cost question on the FAQ, or do we?
I don't think it's.
No, we do not have the cost one on the FAQ.
Yeah, so we'll take the last one first, because we are going to get to the first 2 later in the, so unfortunately, the college is not able to provide any college dollars towards any legal purpose for any student. So we are unfortunately not technically able to do that by regulation, which you're right, it's expensive and it's unfortunate.
However, I would say, oh, sorry, okay, I didn't mean, I would say, yes, but the resources that the college has shared, many of those are offering pro bono, some pro bono from some free legal assistance, some guidance at no cost or at low cost. And so some of the resources are intended to be assisting individuals in a way that isn't necessarily draining them financially. So
thanks,
I wanted
Steph.
to add that. And thinking of it this way, the risk to the institution, if we were to recommend a specific lawyer, or if we were to pay for legal counsel, and again, we can't, that we aren't regulatory, there's regulations against allowing us to do that. But if we were, and the case did not come out the way the individual wanted, that would put the institution at risk for having backed a specific individual, specific legal service, and that not working out well. So it is a risk mitigation for the institution. But what we can do is compile resources that have been vetted by trusted individuals, trusted services, and that have some some free services and free consultation options as well.
I do want to make sure we get to all the questions. I know you have a tight agenda. So,
but we've moved some time open for stuff. So if you're free, you're free.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I mean, if you want me to, I can jump to the other 2 questions. We'll get to them in the FAQ as well. But basically the other answer to the questions is that, we are absolutely, and they're on the list too. Okay. Do you want me to just continue down the list then?
Yeah, I think it makes the most sense, like logically, right?
Okay.
Forward.
So
yeah, I think, we'll get
so
to it.
going on to number 2, then can you explain the different types of student visas and how that impacts students for how they can respond to a visa termination? There are technically 3 different types of student visas, and the college does have the authorization to utilize all 3 of them. The one that we utilize primarily is the F1, like fantastic one, student visa. And that one is, it's basically intended for anyone who chooses to come to the United States can apply for the F1 visa, and hopefully be granted access to utilize that visa. There's a J1 one visa, and that one is really designated for exchange programs and where there is maybe a third-party sponsorship, like an employer is sending the employee over to get a specific piece of education with the intent that they would come back and utilize that, and maybe the employer is helping to fund some of the education. It might be with, a government might be funding some students to come, and then because there's some funding and support, they use the J visa. We do occasionally have some J students as well. And then there's an M visa, M for like mother. That one we have the authorization to utilize, but we don't utilize it because it's really restrictive. It's really for purely vocational study that doesn't, and you can't change the course of study or the level of study. And so if we were to bring students on an M visa, we would be not allowing them to access college transfer programs or opportunities to build on that specific degree level to move on. And it's really also courses that or programs of study that don't have any general education requirements. And so that doesn't really fit the model of Madison College. For example, schools that specialize in like air pilot training might use the M visa, but and ultimately it doesn't really matter which of those visa types they have, but how the approach to responding to the termination, in my understanding, it really doesn't make a difference. As far as how many days do they have to respond, there is no grace period, unfortunately. Historically, I'm trying to figure out how to make this not so simple as possible. Basically, and am I getting too far in the weeds, or is this what you want?
I think the critical piece is historically the enforcement hasn't been there. That's what I always think. That's the biggest difference we're seeing now.
Yeah.
So when technically there's been a revocation or a termination, there's typically been an opportunity for a student to reapply and try and reinstate their status. What
And
we're
there
seeing
still is that
now-
option, but
Well, the option is still there, and yet the enforcement is happening immediately. It's a conundrum, right?
Yeah.
So you technically can reapply to reinstate, but technically there's no grace period, and it's like today.
yeah,
Historically, what we've seen is the enforcement hasn't been there, and the students had an opportunity to reinstate, and that happens. Now what we're seeing deportations happen right across the nation. It hasn't happened at Madison College, but technically that's the problem right now, and we don't have an answer for what is going to happen because we've seen it happen and we've seen it not happen.
Okay.
And so that's the key part.
nationwide,
is
he's talking about, yeah.
nationwide.
So it's
Yeah, so
immediate that you're supposed to.
It is effective
Okay.
immediately.
It is effective
Okay.
immediately,
The enforcement may or may not happen immediately.
right?
We just don't know.
Yeah.
But
But
that's
it-
for them to decide, not for us.
Yeah.
And we still have an opportunity to reapply to be reinstated. It's just, there's no, they're not going to wait necessarily, there's not, the enforcement may happen.
Yeah,
Where
so
in the past-
typically there hasn't been the enforcement piece, and a reinstatement may be filed anytime up until within a 5-month window of when the violation occurred, that the CVIS record was terminated. And so students could take time to get advice, get feedback, file these reinstatement applications, and that's something that my team has certainly assisted students with doing. But as
And we are
Dr. Thomas
outside-
shared, what's that?
I was gonna say, we're so early on
Yeah.
right now and it's happening that we don't know if any students have, applied and been reinstated and therefore they're able to, we don't know because it's just happened. So we don't, you can apply, we just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And with 2B, we have heard that students do not need to leave the US until they receive official communication. Unfortunately, that is not accurate. When the visa is, when the CVIS record is terminated, again, which is different than the visa revocation, if the visa is revoked and the CVIS record is not terminated, then it's okay for the student. The student remains in legal visa status. They just can't depart the United States and use that same visa to enter back in because that visa was canceled. But if the SEVIS record is terminated, then that's when they no longer are legally eligible to stay in the United States. There isn't a grace period for it.
That's what we are notifying them of.
And
there's a
so
lot
we
of
are
term-
notifying them.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't matter necessarily, unfortunately, if they receive official communication from the US government.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many different statuses and so many different things that could be terminated or revoked or whatever. So just to be clear, so when their SEVIS record is terminated, that's when we are notifying them.
Okay.
And that's where there's no grace period. For them. So I know we're throwing a lot of new words at you.
No, we're here to
But that's what Madison College is monitoring, and we're calling them and emailing them immediately to let them know that that's happening.
Yeah. Did you have a question, Quinn?
Yeah, just a clarifying question. If you can answer this without infringing on the privacy of students, have all those who faced SEVIS termination or visa revocation, have they had the F1 or J1 or M1? It's been one of those 3 types of visas, is that correct?
All of the students are on the F1 that have been affected.
Okay. Thank you, that's all.
Yeah, the follow-up question I was gonna ask is that some countries actually require you to go back into your country of origin to get your visa like renewed on your end. What about those students that have to go back to their country first? Do they run the risk of potentially not getting re-entry into the US? It's good to know. It's fine if you don't know about that.
Yeah,
on the
so
list, but-
they're in generally speaking, there is a way to, oftentimes there's a way to apply for what's called a third country national, where you aren't going back to your home country, you're going to a different country to apply for the visa. And US embassies have an ability to either, accept those types of applications or not, depending on how busy that embassy is and things like that. And oftentimes they look at, do you have a reason for applying in this other country? Do you have family here? Are you here for research or vacation? Or are you just thinking that it might be an easier place to apply from than your home country? So all those kind of go into consideration. So a student doesn't necessarily have to go back to their home country to apply for a new visa. I do believe, and what I've been hearing from other lawyers though, is that it may be, in general, if you have a SEVIS termination or what's seen as like a violation from a visa that you have visited the United States on, it does often make it harder to get another visa approved in the future. So, but those are things that we absolutely would recommend a student to talk to an immigration lawyer about and get into the weeds on their specific situation to see if they have a better sense for the likelihood of how to help facilitate another visa application.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Hassan?
Yeah, I don't know if you know any information regarding this question. So once the students are being notified, those extreme cases, and then they don't have grace period, and they have to leave the state as soon as possible, are those potentially be contacted by immigration, ICE, or is that the enforcement that you were kind of talking about?
Can you just repeat that?
The-
I lost a little bit of what you meant with the last part.
The enforcement piece is ICE.
Okay.
To get them.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
the
enforcing body is ICE, yeah. So if they, and I think another thing to think about is that it is possible, for someone to be holding a visa status and also applying for another status or standing. And so that can also impact the options that a student may have. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
In terms of Steph, I'll just jump in the next one in terms of how
Yeah.
frequently we plan to communicate. So I think when there's something to communicate, we'll absolutely communicate. Like you got the letter from Dr. Casper last week immediately when things happen. So if there are new developments, we will let the college community know. We're not gonna make an announcement every time there's a CEVIS termination. But when there are new developments, that we want to share, we'll make that known to the college. And then depending what that gap of time is between when something happens and the last time we communicated, we also may make it part of sort of regular periodic updates from, Vice President Student Affairs or the president himself, or, when there's needed updates, we'll update them. And then if it's been a long stretch of time, period, like, what's going on? I haven't heard anything for a long time. We'll think to insert that into general communications. So we don't have a plan like every week there'll be an update or anything like that. But we're monitoring it really closely along with everything else, frankly, that's going on that we need to communicate to, broader college community. And in terms of, dedicated resource officer, whatever, that's, like we said earlier, that's, Center for International Education, Steph and her team. And the 3B, that next question is really tied, to some parts of question 4. Once a student has, been identified and we start communicating with them, we talk to them about what their options are. So we are not dropping a student unilaterally. Like, the college is not dropping any student from any course on our own. If the student wishes to withdraw, we have procedures for that. And we have tuition refund policy and process in place for that. We have coordination between all the services that, you listed in the question. So between Student Achievement Center, Madison College Library, et cetera. The unfortunate thing that is a good thing is that we have a lot of experience doing this with all different kinds of student situations. Right? Students drop out and have life-altering circumstances for all kinds of different reasons. Family members die. There's all kinds of reasons, and so the unfortunate thing is we're good at taking care of that. Unfortunate because of the circumstances to the student, but good for the students in that we have sort of muscles we can flex when the situation arrives. And Stephanie's department coordinates directly with the Dean of Students. So the little internal team that I said a bunch of us have been working on this day and night for a while has included someone from Dean of Students, someone from Public Safety, someone from Communications, and Steph and myself. So we're very hand in hand with the Dean of Students office, which coordinates then with the deans of the schools and the various faculty members, instructors, to see how can we help these students finish. We'll do everything we possibly can in our power to allow students to finish, whether it's remote, virtual, everything we possibly can. And then Dr. Casper has said, yes, these CEVIS terminations and visa revocations do qualify as a life-altering circumstance.
So all of them.
That's a technical definition, and there's 5 reasons why the college would consider a tuition refund. And he's made it statement that this situation does qualify for that, which we knew he would, but we just sort of wanted to get that policy decision in front of us, so we can say that definitively to you and to the students themselves. Sorry, and I didn't mean to try and jump into the other questions. It just feels like there's sort of one bucket.
Yeah.
The college is well equipped and experienced to handle these kinds of situations. I said it hasn't been the same catalyst, but we've had the same experiences in having to support students who need to withdraw for some reason. So we know how to do that, and we're well coordinated doing that. So Steph, you probably want to add to that, and there's other pieces of question 4 too. But that
Sure,
just felt
yeah.
like
Yeah.
one answer to me in some ways.
Yeah. And I will share that with the students that we've supported at this point in time who've been affected by this, I'm really, really pleased that they are able to really continue in their programs of study and in their courses, really, really seamlessly, actually, with these accommodations. So I've been really amazed and impressed with the way the college has come together and those support resources and just the options available. So I guess take some comfort in that as well. I know that has felt very reassuring to me as well, that these students are largely being able to continue with their plans as uninterrupted.
And each of the specific scenarios that are listed in the questions,
Yeah.
those are 4 of 100 different situations that we'll consider, right? So
Yeah.
in each of those, we'll do everything we can, like I said, to address each of those individual situations and that you identified already as examples, and many others.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Thank you.
They would receive, I mean, if they will the students be able to receive a withdrawal status on their transcript, even after the deadline? Again, none of the students are in that situation yet at the point where they are withdrawing beyond a standard deadline, but yes, we would be able to pinpoint back to the time the termination happened and indicate that was before the withdrawal deadline, so, you know,
I do
they
want to make a
could,
clarification too. Sorry,
Yeah.
Steph, as I was seeing in the chat, and I don't want to let it go by. The tuition refund. So there is a tuition refund policy. It is not a 100% tuition refund, right? So it is in many cases a partial refund depending on the circumstances. So I don't want to put it out there that their tuition will be 100% refunded because it's not the case. There's a refund policy that considers a partial tuition refund.
It's no less
Just
than
want to make clear.
60% from the special circumstances.
60%.
Yeah, minimum, so.
Right, but not guaranteed more.
No one gets
That's fine.
100% even
That's fine.
after.
I just want to
yeah.
make sure people don't have that impression.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're all equitably not getting 100% back, so it's everyone that's okay, I guess. Okay.
I do see a next question.
Yeah, we'll just
Then-
answer that now. We answer the rest.
Yeah, again, we don't have reasons. Sorry, Steph.
No, see, we direct, so we're asking, I'm sorry, I'm lost on where we are with the questions. Exceptions made for student tuition refunds, we've kind of talked about that. And then I
This is
did,
Annette's question. Different.
oh, it's in the chat, I'm sorry.
It's in the chat, yeah, it was just Annette asking, if there's cause for some of these revoided visas related to false information on them.
Yeah, we really don't have the reason.
No information.
So we don't know why.
One
Yeah.
I was
question
just
that
wondering,
Quinn
because I
asked.
was hoping there might be a way to combat some of it.
Yeah, we have no,
You know,
no.
and I think that is what some of the, you know, again, there's been some lawsuits popping up nationwide that there are the individuals that are gathering information, trying to collect this in order to put forth some sort of, you know, legal initiative to block it or counter it. So, and I do believe we've noted on the resource sheet which ones are kind of engaging in some of that. So that we know of in the community anyway. Does that help with your question?
Yeah, and I think that fits into Quinn's question about what recourse do students have with immigration officials when their visa status changes? Is there any way Madison College can help them take recourse? Sounds like it's just connecting them because of our legal liabilities.
Yeah, I mean, connecting them to the legal
Yeah.
resources, but then also, you know, again, it's a conundrum that they can apply to be reinstated. And in doing so, Madison College will help process that paperwork. So we will provide whatever support we can that's in our power.
Gotcha.
Like, as for example, that we would help process that reinstatement, provide documentation or whatever.
But they would have to connect with the lawyer first
Well,
on their.
What we would want them to do is, so typically, you know, if there's a termination, we would have been in contact with them repeatedly about what the potential violation is and working with them to try to correct that and things like that. And ultimately, if that doesn't work, there could be a termination that our office is responsible for reporting. And then with that, we have helped students file for reinstatement, and they wouldn't necessarily need legal assistance in that case. We can guide them through the whole reinstatement process. Where we want them to seek legal assistance in this case is because this is really unprecedented behavior, I would say, or policies, and the way that it's being implemented is unprecedented, and because the enforcement element is happening so much more quickly and with such greater, you know, like attention to enforcement than there has been previously. That's where we feel the student really needs to talk to an immigration attorney to really fully understand the risks and the consequences, the pros and the cons of all of their options. You know, maybe they have already filed for asylum, or maybe they've already filed for permanent residency, or they're on the cusp of that, or they've been thinking about it or something. You know, those all open up different avenues and options that we want them to get that information and legal guidance you know, and ultimately, if their lawyer comes back and says, you know what, yes, I think this student, you know, wants to do a reinstatement, they want to pursue XYZ, then that's when, of course, we're gonna, you know, step back in and help them through that process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. We have one more question with a little more moving parts. We kind of answered some of them, but I feel like we're close to the end here.
I think we hit the ones on the list, but if there's
Yeah.
others that you've got.
I think 4A is the question that hasn't quite been answered yet.
4A,
Yeah,
offered
yeah,
a chance to
online.
continue online. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If they wish, if they are choosing, you know, after consultation with their lawyer, they feel the best plan of action for them is to depart the United States, then absolutely we would work with them to see if there's an online option that's available or what that might be. I mean, so yeah, that's definitely a tool in our toolbox that we're thinking about for sure.
What about
They began
lab
in-
courses like chemistry? You can't exactly, I don't know,
Well,
ask
you know,
students to bring their own
interestingly-
hydrochloric acid.
Well,
Yeah, I mean-
remember COVID?
Yeah,
So,
right.
you know,
We've
that's
mailed
what I'm
all sorts
saying.
of
I was
things
saying,
to
like-
students who've signed up for lab classes
That's what I'm saying.
overseas.
I think
Yeah, so
there's
sorry.
a lot of different scenarios
Yeah.
in addition to these that we're able to address with students. And
Okay.
so, you know, we've been really flexible and we've learned that, you know, not being in person is not an excuse to not be able to teach a student. So there's a lot of different ways that we've learned how to do things.
Okay.
Remotely with students. And so, you know, each student situation is different, each classroom type is different. And so faculty have to work directly with the students to figure that out. But that's what I was sort of saying. I think, you know, these are just two of the scenarios that we'll be presented with. And so we'll work through all of them and do our best to accommodate the student in the ways, any way we can.
Perfect. Thank you. Quinn, you got something?
Just to make sure I understood right, is there any recourse a student can take aside from reapplication? If that's something you can speak to?
If their CVIS final terminated,
Reinstatement? Or,
is there
so-
anything other than reinstate they can do?
Yeah.
well,
What are you
so
thinking?
there's, I mean, I think that's, you know, I guess an idea, and one of the things that comes to mind is just if they wanted to enter into some of the lawsuits that are being like, you know, compiled against this action from the government, that is one recourse they could do. It doesn't have an immediate fix to their visa status, you know, unless, because that's going to be caught up in mitigation for a long time, presumably, but that's something they can do. But really, you know, the way, I mean, there's, again, they could already be having another visa or residency status, immigration status pending, that maybe they can lean in on that one then. They could file for reinstatement if they feel if that's in their best interest. They, you know, I guess those are kind of the options that come. I mean, they could choose to continue studying and being in the US without that legal standing. I mean, there are individuals, and that's, I guess, something that I had wanted to say early on, is that this immediate impact, and the impact that's been kind of hitting the media lately is directly impacting, you know, the F1 and visa holders, the student visa holders. But there are so many individuals in this country that aren't necessarily on the student visa that also are either on a visa or on no visa that are being affected by federal policies as well. And so we really crafted this FAQ with an eye to all of those students so that, yes, there's going to be key elements in here relevant to F1 visa holders, but there's also resources for any non-immigrant, any non-citizen who might be also facing a visa revocation who doesn't have a CVIS record. So we're not even going to be aware of it, but they still might be facing that visa revocation or impacts of some of these policies. And so that's where we really want to get this message out broader than the 195 students on our visa support, because we know that there's a wide variety of individuals in a variety of statuses in our campus community, and they need our support too.
Which a really important element of that I do want to be really clear, you made me think of this, thanks, and it's piggybacking on what Steph said. So visa status is not a requirement for enrollment at Madison College. So and every student will make their own risk assessment and their own choices about whether they want to stay or go. And if they stay and they want to come to class, we will serve them in class. No one's telling them they have to go. We'll explain what the ramifications are. We'll explain what their status means. We'll explain what we're seeing in terms of enforcement, that kind of thing. Any student who stays can stay in class. So that's not, the phrase is like visa status is not a condition of enrollment. So just, you made me think of that. I'm glad, like, that's really important. We keep talking about the situation where students leave and how they resolve and what, they're here illegally, but I also want to be really clear that regardless of their status, we will serve them at Madison College. And they can come to class if they want.
All students are welcome, right?
Also,
Thank you.
So that's just,
Good line.
I think that's an important nuance piece of this.
We have two more questions, one from Declan, and you'll round us out at the end.
And I had another question too I wanted to share, or just a bit of information I wanted to share as well.
Go first. Yeah, go first.
Oh, I don't have to.
Go first, Steph.
No,
You got it. I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
I have it written. It's totally fine. But basically, I know some of the initial media coverage of why visas were being revoked involved student activism, or not, students who are involved in activism and engaged in, freedom of speech activities or protests or things like that. And so one of the facts that we're working on adding, we've gotten some language that we now feel comfortable adding to this to help support what that means for students. So on that, like whether a non-immigrant can engage in expressive speech and associated activities, they are protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution when they are in the United States. So they are allowed to participate in lawful expressive speech and activities, such as public protests or demonstration. However, the really important thing is that it can impact a non-immigrant status. So if, that free speech activity ends up turning, a bit violent or chaotic, and if an individual is arrested or detained by police or anything like that, even if they don't, they might get arrested and then immediately released, nothing charges, no actual anything, that could still result in a visa revocation by the U.S. Department of State because of the differences between, how that law is applied for a non-immigrant versus how that law is applied for a citizen. And so, again, even if charges are dropped, if something goes sideways when they're in the middle of an activity, that could have some serious implications. And so that's where, it's really tricky. We want to welcome individuals to have an opportunity to share their voice and speak up and be active as global citizens. But the reality is that the risks are greater if something goes wrong, or if, the situation turns. So we just want our international students and our, non-immigrants to be aware of that. And again, they then as individuals need to assess that risk. Is that something that they are so passionate about and that is so committed to that it is worth that risk? Maybe. And then, but they have to make that decision, and we just want them to be informed before they make that decision.
No, thank you for that statement. It's very helpful to understand the differences for their, expressing their speech. Okay, we have two more questions, and I think we're gonna wrap it up. We spent a lot of time on this. I think we spent almost an hour talking about this, so we'll wrap it up here quick. So Declan first, you got a question?
Yes. First, I'd like to point out that when I did join the Student Senate, I had to provide proof of citizenship. That
To be a
was-
student
To be
worker,
to be a
yeah.
student worker.
which is, yeah,
Students.
not a requirement of attending college though.
No, it is not, just, so for
And
enrollment,
for
it's not.
employment.
Yes, employment's different, yes.
And then I would like to lend my voice to Anna Pogorlova.
Should I ask it?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I know you were mentioning before, like the kits for labs. So if these students need textbooks to finish their courses, how do they return that back to the school if they're not in the state?
We'd figure that out with them. We'd figure that out with them.
Okay, and that's how you did during COVID, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we have situations where the students pass away and things like that, where we're not able to, so that's the kind of thing where, it feels very new and fresh because this is a circumstance we haven't had before, but the outcomes and the situations are sort of similar, so we'd be able to figure that out. Waive the textbook fee or something like that, those kinds of things. So all those little details, and there's 1,000 little details for each of these situations, right? That's why they're all so different. All those little details will be worked out with the Dean of Students Office as they go through managing the situation, coordinating, those kinds of ideas. Library books that are still checked out, laptops that might be on a laptop borrow will be another similar example. How they could finish their classes, all those little details, the Dean of Students Office will work out with those faculty or other sources of the college.
Okay, thank you very much. Good on that? Okay, last statement of the night, Hassan.
I guess you mentioned something really important that a lot of students don't know, that they're able to continue their education online. Isn't there a requirement that international students have to be in person? And then if they're able to continue their education online overseas or whatever, does it
Yeah.
Madison College?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. So basically, it is true. When a student is on the F1 visa, then they are required to have the majority of their classes have an in-person component. They can't do too much online. However, when their status has been terminated, those laws no longer apply to them unless they are filing for a reinstatement. If they choose to stay in the United States and file for a reinstatement of that student visa status, then they have to continue following all of the regulations associated with that student visa. So they would have to continue, attending classes in person, and they would not be allowed to flip everything to online because that would be detrimental to that reinstatement being potentially approved. But if their record was terminated, then those laws, and they're choosing not to file for a reinstatement, they're choosing to depart the United States, outside of the United States, those US laws don't pertain to them anymore. So then they can certainly study full-time online if they wish, because they're no longer on, in the US on that visa type. Was that the question you were getting at?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you for sitting through this all with us. I know it was a very complicated, heavy topic, but we had a lot of questions, so we wanted to make sure people knew, and it sounded like you've communicated to all 195 students. And really appreciate hearing that. I think that was very encouraging to hear, because people came to us saying like, what is happening with student visas? And they were very concerned about, are they next? Are they going to be targeted
understandably.
for this? Yeah, I know you can't answer that question, but I know that we can, having like a community and support in place, like I think that makes a big difference for people. So we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you
very
for
much.
caring as much as we do, seriously,
Yeah.
and thank you for bringing those kinds of things forward. And again, just please encourage anyone who gets questions from anyone to direct them to Stephanie and her team at Center for International Education. They are the best resource at the college for them, and they will do everything in their power, believe me, to support our students.
We are creating flyers with a QR code to the fact sheet. We want to try to just get it out in as many ways as possible. So if you have other ways or other ideas of how we can share the fact that the FAQ exists now and is out there, please let us know, because we want to make it available to as many people as we can. And as you read through it, if anything is unclear or if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll do our best to get that clarified and tidy up the FAQ if we need to.
Director Stephanie, I know this is recorded. Are we able to share it on social media and stuff like that on YouTube?
We can. Oh, are you okay with that? If we did that?
Yes, sure.
Share what? This.
Yeah, so the reason this is,
Mhm.
this year with open meetings, so just want to know if that okay, if individuals are wanting to see the recording of it as they're gonna reach out to Stephanie, can they review the recording and stuff like that as well?
Yep.
Awesome.
No secrets.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Give an extra hand for Stephanie and her team because they seriously.
Thank you all. It's been hard, but we are here for the students.
Hear me? Enjoy Kenya without me. I can't join you this year, but
Well, sadly, I'm not going either, Kai. They can't handle us again. So we're just
Okay.
gonna. But
Opportunities for
thank you.
new.
that's how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Thanks so
much.
much.
Thank you.
30 minutes, huh? Okay, we've got a lot on the agenda to go through. We're gonna go a little bit later, but I think we can cut some things out and make it expedited. Me and Nohaya and Goltak, and looks like we're gonna have the team building activity. We do have a fun one planned. So next meeting, when it's not gonna be as heavy of a topic, I think we can do it. So that'll be a promise that is gonna be dedicated enough time to team building activity. No disclosures and recusals, I don't think, for any of the bills that we have to discuss today. We aren't gonna be discussing the resolution. I did send out a message about that, so sorry I couldn't finish it in time. Sorry, Annette. I would actually like to, well, we'll just go through it on the agenda and push through it. For reports from officers, advisors, and standing committees, executive council president report, I would just like everyone to have a shorter report if they can. My only thing is that, we have other pieces of legislation to go through next week. Bill on, the stipend review, I would like to see if we can, have exit interview talks. That's something that Cole's been really interested in, and I think it's really good from a workplace standpoint. And the only other thing is like resolutions on the college housing affordability, as well as the MOU. So those things are upcoming. We have Kim Grundy coming for a meeting on May 1st, and then we invited a former Madison College rock star to one of our meetings. So won't reveal who yet, but it'll be a secret. So keep that in mind. That's all I have to say. Administration finance?
No report.
No report. Thank you for coming, Kelly. Anything from Hassan?
No report, but congratulations to the winner. And I see Ari and Corey here, so congratulations, guys, and then the new president, Jose Villarreal. So yeah, it's been a successful election period, so I would like to congratulations to everyone, and yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Moving on, team development committee, anything?
No.
No report. Perfect. Public relations?
I don't have any report, but I gave
Oh,
some of my minutes to Andy.
Yeah, I just wanted to make us aware about an opportunity to get involved since I was just something students want.
What is
from
it?
us. So we should reach out to Linda Lee and Mitty. It's gonna happen May 14th and it's gonna be called the Cultural Gala Ball. And it's gonna be for students in identity-based clubs, and they're gonna be organizing, just celebrating, and we can table there too. We can reach out, and I just wanted to make us aware of that and we can talk about it more.
I'm so free now that tax season's over. Maybe I can talk to when Ohio's working and figure out about this and see how Senate can get involved. So let's get on that next week. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Is it you doing UCG time till 3 p.m. on Wednesday?
I think it's exam time, so I think we won't have class anymore.
Yes, but UCG had the meeting every Wednesday at 3 p.m. So I think it might be during that time.
Oh, okay. We'll figure it out once we get there. Thanks for bringing it forward to us. So I know to talk to Linda now. So I'll look for that. We'll connect. Okay, advisory report. I know you have a lot to say.
I do, so let's expedite it. First off, if you haven't done the learning outcome survey, I'm not paying you.
It's due tomorrow,
It is
everyone.
due tomorrow. So
Yeah.
in the chat, I just put it, if you haven't done the learning outcome survey, do it right now.
Yeah, we were gonna take some time to do
Wait a
it.
minute, which survey? Is it the one for student life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
So I just put it. in the
You're
chat.
about to do it right now because it's until
There
tomorrow.
is no paragraph answers. There's legitimately just push and go.
Bubbles, yeah,
That is
bubbles. Do you feel like you did well, like advanced or
Oh, gotcha.
basic or that one?
Can you confirm my name?
I'm gonna confirm everybody tonight. I'm giving everyone the opportunity. And I'm gonna reach out to people individually tomorrow because if you're a part of another organization and you haven't done it, your advisor knows you haven't done it yet because I told them today.
There's only one
I told him
stipend
to
related
know.
survey for fourth grade level. Is that right?
For
Dude,
student life, Yes,
What?
the stipend you're doing is
1 hour
is to get your pay.
Is for.
Yeah, this is something all of student life employees have to do. So please get that done. Please, 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 please. I'll put up the QR code in a minute. Let me hit my last points here. I wish Kelly was still here. Doug Kirkberg reached out to me and is looking for 3 Senate members to sit on the student media board to hire the new editor-in-chief of the Clarion. He is seeking 3 individuals. Those interviews it's the student media board.
Yes, student
Yes.
media board, yes.
April 28th through May 2nd is when Doug is hosting the interviews. It's no more than a 5-hour total commitment.
I'll do it.
But if you commit, you are 100% committed. There is no, oh, well, I actually think I need to study this day. This is an important thing, and Doug is asking for 3 of us specifically. So if you want to do it, shoot me an email or send me a text or send me a direct message. I don't care which one. I just need 3 names to provide him, and then Doug will give you all other available information. But you will help in the decision-making for the next editor-in-chief for the Clarion.
What does editor-in-chief does? Like,
It's Kelly Fang. She's basically in charge of like choosing what stories appear in it. They also are responsible for putting the paper together and the newsletter every week. So it's a heavy job, and they're one of the other positions in student life that is 19 hours a week, 19.75.
they're part-time with still students.
We can't
Yeah.
pay 20 or
Yes.
more than 20. Yeah, so we do
So,
19.75.
But yeah, if you want to do it, like Kai, you want to do it, send me that message. I'll get that for you.
I will do that.
Cool.
Thank you.
Name tags and stipends. Your stipends are due a week from tomorrow,
Yes.
25th. While I'm at WSG, so get those in as soon as possible. The sooner that I get everybody's turned in, the sooner that Kai and I can process them and get you paid before the end of the year. That is a goal of ours. For name tags, I think the deadline for name tag is tomorrow too.
Is it tomorrow? I thought we had until the 25th, but I could.
Might be till the 25th. You
Okay.
have till the 25th. If you want a name tag to go, so for my new folks, you're gonna get one as part of your job in August. Don't worry about it. But for any of you that are looking for that memorabilia, give me your name tag information. Kai and I did make the executive decision because collecting money is gonna be just kind of difficult. If you are wanting a name tag, we'll just take the $2 out of the stipend. That way, you don't have to find me. I already don't use Venmo and stuff like that. My wife does. And I don't want loose cash.
All right,
So we're just gonna go that route, and that way it's not that we're accepting money from you, which is gonna call it an even cost.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can be flexible with that. So because we have that adjusted, I talked to Ellie about it as well, because some people did ask, why can't we just use the Senate budget? It's not that we couldn't use the Senate budget, it was the justification to it, but since we're having a 0 cost outcome, it's fine. I have zero issue with that. So just know that it's $2. And my understanding is I should be able to put your name and your position on it. If your position's kind of long, like Vice President of Administration and Finance, if you want one, I think he said that we can still do that. And I'll have them within a couple of days, not weeks, a couple of days. Hassan?
Are you like in the stipends, is it gonna say -$2 for that or?
Oh,
We'll
I don't
provide
know
that
the answer to
justification
that,
if somebody wants it, but if you don't identify it, then obviously we'll never be taking orders. But yeah, we'll make it known that that occurred. It'll be very clear between Kai and I. We'll give you that information back.
Sure, I think the payroll office will have to talk to them about listing that, but I think we can figure that out,
Yeah,
right?
we'll be
Okay.
set. My last 2 things are, yes, for our May 1st meeting, every single one of our new Senate members for the 2025-2026 Senate are going to be invited to attend that meeting. Part of it is to know y'all as the current Senate folks so that they can have that personal connection. And we'll be doing a little bit of what to expect with Senate type PowerPoint. It's fun, it's good. And then for those of you who may be returning, but also with our new Senate folks, we'll do a quick rundown of what does the swearing in ceremony look like. It's not super hardcore, but just so that we're kind of all on the same page. And then lastly, swearing in ceremony. All of y'all are invited and I would say should attend because we will do the ceremonial, wishing you the best as you transition out of your role and we bring in the next folks. So all of y'all will get that invite from me when I'm done with them in Campo. My last and final thing is you're going to WSG next week. I have all the names. I'm going to email you all what our driving situation looks like. We're going to have 2 vehicles because there's a lot of us. And so I'm just going to say, hey, here's what our plan is. Here's what's going to go down. I'll be one driver. Kai's going to be my other driver. And we'll get that all copacetic. But just be aware of those emails because trying to get a lot done, especially with Student Success Works next week.
Okay.
That's everything. Talked fast. I think I did under the 10 minutes. Does anybody actively want the QR code. Otherwise, I put the thing in the chat, so it should be.
Yeah, no, I sent it out, QR code.
What's up?
Are we getting awarded on the student success ceremony? or
I
no?
have no idea the outcome.
Someone in the room does,
Who's that guy?
who would that be? Couldn't tell you. I could, but I won't.
So, all right, that is everything for me. No other questions. I yield.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone's left questions for Cole? Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Public Safety Advisory Committee, Senator Rafter, you got something quick for us?
Yes, very quick. Yeah, so we worked on both the formatting for the blue card and future goals for the PSAC. Those are the future goals up there right now.
Want to read out loud?
Yep. So we want to pass this on to the next Public Safety Advisory Committee that will actually be part of the non-Senate external PSAC. So that does exist, and we're looking to have senators on there. So we want emergency action plan training on Brightspace, which is going to be the new transition from Blackboard, and then maybe a longer term project associated with that. Also something in the Wolfpack Welcome, in person or online, maybe like some Wolfie videos. We talked about that. And then the efficiency parking initiative, something might happen with that. I mean, there's a resolution, there is a lot of writing around that, and then a lot of meeting transcripts, so they could go back and look at what we discussed. And then, of course, evaluating the efficacy of the B-Cycle program, which will also happen in SAB. So that's going to be a joint effort, hopefully going forward. And then at the very end, I included this, the bicycle discount sticker. This is something that is accessible on campus, but maybe it's just not really widely utilized, and looking for further outreach, and that might be a goal for future PSAC. Moving on to the blue card.
It's called bicycle benefits, by the way.
Oh,
As
bicycle
Cole pulls it up.
benefits. Nice.
Yeah, I just looked it up, so. All right. Cole, pull it up. So.
And then really, I'm just looking to get like formatting feedback, what your thoughts are about this blue card. This has been worked on in the PSAC and also in PR with BP Jackson winners. So this is the cover page, and then that would be, so cover page and then the emergency quick guide. And this is something that we've been working on for quite some time. Any initial thoughts?
QR code works.
Nice. Okay. This would be on a little ID size card. So it would be printed off. We were thinking either that or that's how we made the dimensions, but also it could go in a series of other formats as well. Like in the planner, we talked about that at today's meeting. So
the other thing I would say is, I think with the information you have on here is good. I would try to add more, because I think you do have a bit. But well, I think solid.
Nice. What do we think about the format? The aesthetics? I'm happy to lend my voice to anyone who's a non-senator. I also want to keep it under 2
It's
minutes.
a very small thing. Is there a way to line up all the words? Because they look like they're not completely lined up, and it's very
Yep.
small,
Yep.
but I would like to see that if you have the time to do that.
Yes, that was something we struggled with a lot.
Oh, I see.
I like to lend my voice. Remind me of your name again?
Corey.
Corey.
Very nice to meet you. I was just curious because you may mention that you were hoping to slip this into maybe the planners
Yes.
or whatever. I think it would be very helpful to have this on hand as well, like if it could slip in the back of our 100s. So if somebody were to wear this around their lanyard or on their belt loop or something like that, it'd be very helpful to be able to have that on hand. Because what if we don't have our bag? What if we have to disband away from our belongings, especially if we're in a shooter situation or a bomb threat? Just a lot of things to keep in mind. I know at my workplace, we typically have a just kind of a slip card that's kind of just the same dimensions of ID card that's along inside our plastic sleeve. But we have access to all like the security number or information. So that would be possibly a good format. Would be very helpful for just activities.
Thank you very much for that insight. I didn't think about that. So
Sounds good.
It says, for medical emergencies, call public safety. I don't know if we could, phrase that 911 maybe?
There's a, I can pull that screen back up. There is a
I can't, 'cause
911.
it's trying to crash the thing.
Oh,
So
whoops.
it would-
Okay, well, get them infected the
Okay.
system.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was a point of discussion around how much liability we might take on if we immediately recommend people call 911 over contacting public safety. And something we did at today's meeting was including up right next to the emergency quick guide title for life-threatening, call 911. And that's really to try and, yeah.
Oh, is it there?
And yellow,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, we can't pull it up now, though. Yeah.
But underneath that, we want to first refer people to public safety, especially if it's not life-threatening, because there might be liability associated with recommending that as the first option.
We specifically thought of international students that don't know about 911.
Yeah.
We wanted that there, we wanted that highlighted, we wanted that on top of
Yeah.
everything else there.
Did we get this approval from anyone like official on campus?
This is still being internally.
Okay,
reviewed,
good.
so,
We can send it out to someone else.
Yes. It has to go through ADA and then public safety.
Perfect.
So,
What's AB?
Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yeah.
We have an ADA advisor on campus. Looks like we're good to go. Thank you for your work. Okay, moving on. Unfinished business, WTCS refund policy work group feedback. I don't think we have enough time for this for everything we want, so it gets punted yet another week. Second rubric update, I would like to share that, Cole, if you could share it. You have my form fillable PDF. Unfortunately, my computer is not connecting to Teams. I've had that issue kind of all week. So I'll fix it eventually.
Pull it up.
Yeah, I'd share myself if I could. But I can't.
Something happened to it.
If you just look me up and.
Yeah. I was trying, it's not in the spot that I put it in. Here we go, all right.
You can look up,
I have it right here, just
Okay,
for a
perfect.
second, then I'll pull it up on my computer. Just taking a second.
Technical difficulties. Thank you, everyone.
Want to just start talking about it?
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. Okay, so the general thing is that we made a stipend rubric update in the form fillable PDF. At the baseline, it's similar, it's just it looks different. Same thing, different branding and look. And I think it's a lot simpler, and I think it takes attendance more into account. And I think it asks you more questions and gives you more opportunities to provide information about it. So you'll see here the basic stuff, all that stuff. It's just in a different table now, but it's down there. So it's still asking the same stuff. What's your name? What's your position? So I would fill out Kai Brito, position president. Academic term, well, I'm not gonna fill this out, but academic term would be spring 25. Date of self-assessment, when are you turning this in? We'll fill out the date reviewed by president, stipend amount to be allocated. That's the max stipend that you get. For general senators, it's $750. For vice presidents, it's $1,000. Self-assessment 12 points. If you have time to add that up, put it in there. If you don't, no worries. And then 12 points will be our version of it after me and Cole have a conversation about where where we think you're at. If you scroll down, we'll go to attendance, just from every meeting from the start, just all the way to the April 3rd meeting. Maybe in the future, we can add another table, because if these are turned in by the 11th, then you can put that in. But I think it's a good capture of how representative you are coming to Senate. So just mark if you were there, even if you were excused. If someone was excused for every single meeting and then they just didn't show up, we wouldn't pay them. So that will count against it once it gets to a certain point. So missing more than 3 meetings could result in deductions to your stipend. Yes, Nevaeh?
What if you don't know like the exact dates? Like, what if you just
Do your best and we'll check it against Yilong's records. Question here.
I was just gonna ask, what if you joined after a certain date?
Oh, we're taking that into account. So I forget where we landed with you, but I think Quinn,
I think you all technically started at the halfway point when you were
Yeah.
fully on, so we would work from the date that I had your date of employment that you completed everything.
Yeah.
So this is much more, this part of it is just so for us to confirm attendance, and then we're always gonna look at if somebody joined later, we know where that's gonna fall into, because also part of the thing is, it's 50% of the meetings involve X, Y, Z type of thing, a lot of this based upon work, if it's joined at half, that's probably the starting point of where we are.
Yeah, it's like the cap of where you'll get at, because we can only give out a certain amount of money for it depending on when you started. So we'll look at that and depend on it. So I will say this, you won't get the full stipend of 750, but you will get a portion of that based on your attendance and your efforts in Senate. So yeah, and we'll let you know. We will be writing you, sending you feedback of what the amount is, what our reasoning is, and kind of filling out our take on this. So. Yes, so that's all this is. Did you?
Yeah, if you're excused, can you just put E or something or?
You still missed it, so
Okay.
well, you should put, we'll look into if you're excused. You could put E, these are check boxes though, but yeah, I know, right? So, yeah, that's kind of it, but we'll pay attention to it and just don't miss too many, and I don't think you've missed too many
Yeah, I was
this
just
semester, so
thinking
I,
for everyone.
yeah, no, no. Yeah, but these are just general questions here, 5 general check boxes. Did you complete the Senate trainings? I believe most of us have. I think some of the new people, I don't know if you have or haven't, but there's the, well, you got until next week Friday to finish them all, so be able to check that box, Andy. Did you do the Senate Town Hall? If you did, click the box. Spring Involvement Fair, if you also went to the Winterfest, that also counts. I just didn't think to write it, and I'm not gonna redo it, so we'll edit it for next year, but if you went to Winterfest, click the box. I'll create a video about this. I just haven't been able to for this Thursday meeting. Did you do elections tabling? Yes or no? Did you take the lead on a Senate initiative event? Did you have leadership on an issue? Like Declan doing public safety, taking the lead on those sorts of things, making the cards. So there's no other Declans around here. So yeah, so that's like an example of what you could put down. Did you lead actually something? And make have like a verifiable project outcome come out of something here. So think about that and write that down there if you did. Knowledge and skill development. Do you understand? This is basic questions. This all comes from the duties of a general senator. Do you understand how to use Robert's rules in meetings? Do you understand current events, policy decision Madison College? Do you understand Senate history and its accomplishments? So how well do you understand Constitution, bylaws, 3-year plan, resolution and bills? For returning senators, if you're coming back from last semester, have you taught new senators? Have you trained them? Have you created any resources for Senate? Those are things we want to see out of you. And scroll back up. Sorry, I didn't cover this. So just use this Likert scale here. 1 does not meet expectations to 5. Do you think you did an outstanding performance? So we'll be rating you on a basic scale of 1 to 5. Scrolling down to student engagement and responsibilities, basic questions. Do you believe that you actively participated and talked about and cared about student issues? Did you engage with student organizations and clubs on campuses? Do you respond to student concerns and follow up during Senate? Do you attend campus events and activities representing Senate? Did you represent Senate to the best of your ability with honor and integrity? Are you acting like a good senator? And hopefully people will put 5. Unless you do something we don't know about. So whoops. Office hours and service log. This is how well did you fill out your office hours? If you did all of them, you get a 5. If you didn't, then you don't. And 60% is kind of our mark. We thought about it like getting a D. So yeah, if you get a C, 70%, it just kind of goes down the line there. So just look at your points and see how many you completed for each week. That's one thing to think about. And then how were you using your office hours? Were you, just holding open office hours and not actually producing anything? Or did you actually actively produce things? Did you learn how to read the bylaws in that? Did you write a resolution? Did you do the meeting minutes? Did you attend another meeting for our 3-year budget, which is a very important project for Senate? Did you engage with students? Did you go to like a student event where you made them feel heard? Or did you advocate on behalf of students at like the district board or maybe some other shared governance type things? Did you meet with the advisor Cole Calio-Curto? He'll know if you did or didn't. So answer honestly. But that's it. And then there's like these little boxes there that you can fill out yourself and just add whatever you want in there. So it just gives you opportunity. And I think hopefully people find this more clear than the other one, because I feel like the other one wasn't very clear. I think this provides more clarity. So things to think about. So that's it. I think I went over 5 minutes, but if you have any questions, let me know. For any real concerns, like quick concerns here, please go for it. Okay, I have people ready to go, so we can move on. To now new business.
Wait.
Oh,
I need hold your hand.
oh, sorry, you didn't use the hand feature, so it's hard for me to see.
I was trying to get to it. I'm on my phone. I'm sorry. So my
No
only
worries. What's up?
question is, I heard pretty much everything you said. Is there anything on there that is, all right, I heard some of it, but it's hard to hear in the location that I'm at. Is there anything on there that's like not part or, not something that senators would be aware of, or something new kind of out of the box? I'm guessing there's not, but I figured I'd just throw that question out there. So no
I
one
guess the
gets
new
to-
thing would be. Yeah, nothing that I haven't covered. The new things that we added are, did you attend certain events, like the town hall, like the spring involvement fair, like elections tabling? That wasn't on the previous ones. We didn't ask straight up if you attended these things. That's a new thing. We didn't ask if you took the lead on a Senate initiative event. We kind of asked that, but now I'm just making it more clear of an ask now. So we didn't completely ask if you completed all Senate trainings. Like, it wasn't a direct question. So like, we insinuated these things previously, but now we're directly asking, did you do these things? So I think it's like having these individual call outs into questions. So
Fair
yeah, I don't know. Did anything sound off to you?
It didn't. It's just that I was having a problem hearing, and so I just thought I'd just ask and make sure I didn't miss anything crucial.
Yeah.
Since I haven't actually looked at the stipend form yet. So thank you. Sorry to take up
Yeah.
extra time.
No worries. The only other thing is that, so weeks where, we'll take into consideration weeks where, last week we did not require meetings. So if you didn't go to a meeting, that will not count against you. Although last week's not on there, so maybe it won't actually impact it at all. So never mind. So we will think about that. Okay, moving up to bill number 4 and bill number 5. We don't have resolution number 13. So if we get through those, we don't have to stay too much longer. I think everyone kind of pre-consider them. We don't need to vote on them today, so we could just read them, but I'd like to have less to talk about the next meeting, if you'd be willing to stay, since we did take a bulk of it discussing the other ones. The international student issue, which we learned a lot. So if you could pull that up, Cole, and then I will read.
What
The
one are we
bills.
doing first? Just the name.
Oh, Bill 5, yeah.
Set the Senate Merit Award.
Yes, please. Just in the order of which,
I was wondering, you said 4, and I have a bill number 4.
oh, sorry.
Nope, you're good. I want to make sure I understood.
I wrote it, did I write this wrong on I wrote this wrong on the agenda. Oops.
Go ahead. You can go ahead. I'm gonna have you scroll for you.
Okay. Bill number 5, Senate Merit Award Guidelines. Student Senate will amend the bylaws to create more inclusive Senate Merit Award Guidelines. The bylaws will be amended to revise the current section on Senate Merit Awards under Article 21, Student Senate Leadership Merit Awards. According to Article 21, the Merit Award Program was established in 1999 to acknowledge the accomplishments and contributions to the student body from Senate membership. Can you scroll down a little more so you can read yes, there we go. Thank you. Senate Merit Award may be given up to 2 members of Student Senate. However, average Student Senate membership throughout this year was between 15 to 16 active members. So there are many more members that provide valuable contributions to the student body. Under Article 21, Section 2, the selection criteria eligibility requires that Senate members have served for at least 6 months. However, Senate members have proven they can make significant improvements to Senate initiatives in a shorter time frame. Under Article 21, Section 2, Senate criteria eligibility also does not permit executive officers to receive this award if they've not previously been a general or regional senator for at least 6 months. However, in certain cases where the total Senate membership is small, it could be valuable to honor the work of the executive leadership of Student Senate. For reasons listed above, we, the members of Student Senate, believe that the Merit Award Program guidelines should be updated to better recognize the work of our Student Senate leaders. Let's scroll down here. Thank you. Section 2, bylaw revision. Bylaw should be amended to read the following. Establishment of Student Senate Leadership Merit Award Program. Student Senate Leadership Merit Program was created in 1999, amended in 2001, 2008, 2023, and 2025. That's the underlined portion. I'm just going to go into the underlined portions, if that's okay, of what we're changing and why. That's clearly just because we would be changing that. The next section, to the Student Senate and the students of Madison College, just better clarification of who we're serving. Student Senate shall establish and oversee the format and criteria by which the Senate Merit Award should be bestowed to membership. Just saying that we will be the ones to decide on how this is changed. annual awards, we changed to 3 members. And you'll see why in a later section, but we do want 3. I did check with Sean and he said that was fine. Peng has not gotten back to us, but he said that she probably would be fine with that. And we have previously in years prior done 3 members, even though our bylaws did not allow us to. So I'm surprised that that happened, but here we are. Okay, next one. Executive council. So during a closed session of the executive council meeting, the reason is that we want to have some like surprise secret about it. So during that portion of it, we'll just tell people that are not part of the meeting to leave the room. We already currently are allowed to do that, but I think this just gives people the knowledge to do that.
Nobody comes to the executive meeting.
They could if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And then we would tell them, you can't listen to this portion.
I used to.
Yeah. Well, you used to be a member though. So,
Well, but before I
executive
became
council
a
meeting.
member, I used to go to them. I was nosy about what you guys were doing.
Gotcha. Executive council meeting must occur before spring break, typically occurring in early March. This was kind of insinuated by Peng, but now it's just formally in the rules. Decision must be finalized by April 1st and sent to the Student Success Award team in a timely, orderly fashion. So that April 1st deadline is really something that Sean really wanted because of the deadline of it. And I think it's possible for us to do, especially if we're meeting before spring break. Executive council must use selection criteria rubric to make final selection. So that was kind of already in there, but we just kind of made language about it. At least 3 months. So that was the big change, changing from 3 months for the date of the Student Success Award banquets from 6 to 3. That's what we're changing. Only general senators or regional senators, not officers, shall be eligible to receive the award. It already said that. I think I just changed it to shall be and reworded some things there because it already said that. Student Senate may select up to 3 members. This is where the changes depending on the size of membership. If it's above 15 seats, that's the amount that seemed fine to me. Then the executive council may select up to 3 members. Otherwise, you only select 2 members. When Senate membership is below 8 seats, so 7 seats, Senate Executive Council may elect to allow the Senate President and Senate Advisor to select an executive officer to receive the award. Senate President is not eligible to receive the award if the President or Advisor, it currently is that way, are unavailable to select the award. Another student life staff member may substitute. And the reason why is because we really want to make sure that general senators are honored for the work that they're doing. And because it's already an honor to be president, it's already an honor to be vice president of administration and finance, to be other vice presidents. So it was established originally for general senators, and I just wanted to make sure that we kept that mentality, because if it weren't, then would the president just win every year? I mean, I think I would win this year if that were the case, but do we need an award? We're already president. Kind of like, that's not how I saw it. Senate Merit Award recipients shall be selected using a standardized rubric based on leadership, service, knowledge, student engagement, leadership. I wrote these to better give a better description of it, so I'll just read them out. Nominee will be rated on Senate initiatives and goals accomplished, bills and resolutions sponsored, Senate sessions facilitated, and other activities they led within the Senate. Service, nominee will be rated on Senate committee work, project work, sponsored events, and other contributions as a member. Student Senate knowledge, nominee will be rated on the demonstrated knowledge and understanding of history, initiatives, accomplishments, structure, student Senate, inclusion, Constitution bylaws, 3-year plan, Senate Wolfpack Connect website. Student engagement, rated on their engagement with camp students on campus, through student worker positions, student club involvement, student organization collaborations, share governance contributions, and other activities that enhance Madison College image and experience. That's all I got for you. There's the conclusion, which is from the beginning, where we're going to make the changes, and that's all I got. Do we have any questions? No comments? No concerns? Okay. Do we have a motion to a motion that the bylaws will be amended to revise the current section of Senate Merit Awards under Article 21, Student Senate Leadership Merit Awards?
That raise their hand.
Motion made from, I think VP Jackson Winters first and then Annette. So that's the second. Do we have further discussion on this? Check the bill. My fault.
Do you want me to pull the bill back up?
Yeah, do we have, did I upload the draft? I'll be able to do that. I think I have the draft legislation here. I do.
You want the same one pulled up?
Yes, please. So with that, we can take a vote. So if you just call people out by name.
Okay, voting starts now. VP Tao, aye. Vice President of Legislative Bear Hashmi.
Yay.
Vice President of Team Development Salifu.
Aye.
Vice President of Public Relations Jackson Winters.
Yes.
Senator Avila.
Can you tell us what he says online?
He says yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Senator Stever Brumler.
Yes.
Senator Matson.
Yes.
Senator Patillo.
Yes.
Senator Raptor.
Yes.
Senator Bridge.
Aye.
Senator Valario.
Senator Villarreal, yes.
Senator West.
Abstain.
Portage Senator Crowder.
Yes.
Reedsburg Senator Stacy Brown.
Yes.
Fort Atkinson Senator Dirks.
Aye. Oh, he's still here. Okay, do we have, or sorry, what was the results?
Zero, one abstain.
Thank you very much. With that, bill number 5 for updates to Senate Merit Award passes. Thank you very much. We can move on to bill number 6. I think it's the last one today because we're not doing the resolution. Okay, we can go ahead and read this. A bill on how to write legislation, ironic enough. Student Senate will amend the bylaws to establish more descriptive guidelines on how to read and write legislation. Promotion of bylaws will be amended to better describe how bills and resolutions via rising current sections under Article 14 meetings and under Article 23 amendments. Primary responsibility of Senate members is to actively learn and understand how to write bills and resolutions, yet the guidelines for how to do so. To do that are at times unclear and confusing, especially for new Senate members. And in the United States legislative branch, both chambers of Congress ensure that any bills or resolutions that are proposed have a public reading to ensure that members of the House of Representatives and Senate are fully aware of the contents written legislation before voting. Some local municipalities, like the Illinois State Constitution, under Article 4, Section 8 of the Constitution requires each bill be read aloud on 3 separate days before it can be passed into law. Senate members are also in charge of the duty to engage with all students at Madison College to listen to comments concerning issues that affect the campus experience, so resolutions should reflect campus involvement in student activities. For the reasons listed above, we believe the bylaws should be updated to provide clear guidelines on how to engage with legislation. Bylaws revision, can you scroll down? No worries. Thank you. Bill should be amended to read the following. Article 14, modify Section 2. Senate meetings, this is G or number 7. It was like that. I don't know. I'm just being want to have it all consistent with how we do it. But all bills or resolutions to include an order of business should be referred to the Senate Vice President of Administration and Finance before Executive Council meeting. Vice President of Administration, Finance, or Executive Officer in their absence has the direction as to whether bills, resolutions, or information submitted after the deadline are included in the order of business. The difference there is that if they're gone, then how do we make sure that we can get stuff in there? So that's why I wrote Executive Officer. So, and then I provided further clarifications on what their like ability was. And then this one's something I added. Senate legislation submitted after the deadline, but approved on the agenda may still be discussed in the meeting. However, Senate may not vote to pass legislation in that meeting. That's consistent with open records laws in the state of Wisconsin. The city of Madison, that any of the state meetings have to follow this as well. So it's implied that we have to do that. It's not written in our bylaws, and I thought we could do it if we're doing this update anyways. Another one, Senate legislation. For item C, all bills and resolutions shall be read aloud in its entirety before discussion by the Senate. That's something that Stacy Brunner actually brought up at the very beginning of this year. And it took us this long to do it. So, oops. But here we are figuring it out right before the end, and we're finally making that change. So thank you, Stacy, for having that proposed. Item D, the written form of bills and resolutions must include the following items: title of the legislation, date presented to Senate, a minimum 2 co-sponsors other than the author, minimum 3 whereof clauses, provide brief description, proper formatting per the guidelines provided by the VPLA and Executive Council. This was kind of already implied, but it was written out in the bylaws. So I just wanted to have it be written out. We can use this in further training so people better understand the bylaws. And I think when people read this, it'll give them a better idea of what legislation is supposed to be in there. Because pretty soon it won't be me writing them, it'll be the new people writing them. So it'll be up to them to figure out how to do it. They'll have a lot of good examples and direction for how to do that. Item E for guidance on writing, correcting legislation, students should provide education resource both online and in person to formally introduce guidelines for how to properly formulate legislation. Senate members may consult VPLA or the RLA committee about how legislation should be formed. Senate President advisor shall also be available to consult legislation. That's just giving people a physical resource for where they can go. I think that's really important. People know who can help with it, especially when you're new. So there's that. Where I proposed moving Article 23 to right after the meeting section, because I think it just made sense. I don't know why I was all the way at the end for amendments, so I thought it made sense to move it underneath. So I did propose moving that. The only underline here is that 3/4 majority vote at a general assembly meeting. I think this just provides more clarification because it didn't have that lines in there, but I'm open to removing that if that's what people want. I thought that provided more clarity. The last item there, procedures regarding amendments, the communications coordinator, there's a section on updates on the Student Senate website and relevant communication channels within the 2 weeks of passing of such amendments by the Student Senate. I just wrote that because I'm like, well, we don't know if the website's going to be the only thing we have. What if there's some random new thing in the future, technology updates? So I wanted to add that in. But Declan had a proposed language, which I will read after I read this last part. Communications coordinator shall be permitted to make the updates, keeping in communication with members of the executive council on the status of updates. That's just to, lend to Lando's bill on communication coordinator stuff. So just giving them more duties and activities, roles, things they can do. Now, what Declan had proposed for the update, he had a different idea on what that should be. Let me read it. Is the responsibility of the vice, updates on the Student Senate. To ensure that all amendments to the bylaws are updates and website. With the option of including updates on any other relevant communication channels. I think that's what it was.
Yes.
Okay. With the option of including updates on any relevant communication channels within 2 weeks of passing such a. So that's the only difference there. Yeah.
Also, I said on any relevant communication channels, all within 2 weeks to specify that it's both ensuring that there are updates on the Student Senate website. And
sorry, I didn't read closely enough.
Just so there's not any syntactic ambiguity.
I see what you're saying.
Because once you end up with a run-on sentence like that, it makes it hard.
It does make it hard, and yet that we all deal with it. But I see what you're saying. So yes, I added that in there now. With that, is there any further, does anyone have anything to say about it?
Annette has her hand raised.
Okay, Annette.
So I guess my question is, and you got to keep in mind here, I'm on my phone, unfortunately, and the screen's really small. Is it very clear that the communications coordinator, that they would be working with the VP of Public Relations for the updates? Because that would be my main concern. Is I feel like forward facing, that information should kind of go through public relations, the VP of Public Relations, to ensure that we're putting out our best face forward. I don't know how else to say it.
It's insinuated that the VPLA and VPPR, Public Relations and Legislative Affairs, that would be in charge of it. But I wrote Executive Council because, what if we lose a vice president? What if, what if both of those positions happen to not be filled? What if they're gone that week and the president needs to step in with that? Just giving more options for that, which is what I thought. So I thought it was good to insinuate it and then in practice just have that person be in charge of it, because I think it's part of their role to work with the communication code. So it's written into the communication coordinator role. So it's not direct. Is that a problem, or
No, not necessarily. I just wanted to make sure that at least public relations got the opportunity to look it over, like, or I guess the exec team to make sure that all the language, everything is the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
It's not like the wrong version of it, something like that. Especially with, any type of, public relation nightmares would come back to public relations first and then to the exec team. Do you know what I mean?
I do, it does say, so let me read it out to you, because I think this addresses the concern. Communications coordinator shall be permitted to make the updates, keeping in communication with the members of executive council and the status updates. Do you want me to change it to with the approval of the members?
Then yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, okay, how
And
do
I know
write
that when you
this?
don't have a stamp or anything like that, but it'd be so cool if it had like a stamp that said, approved.
We actually do have a stamp that says approved. It is in our Senate office. We just haven't used it. So now that I'm off tax season, Hassan and I have a lot of paperwork to go through. We'll get to do the stamp. But maybe Nevaeh can be there and do a video of us or something. If you want to, you don't have to. Yeah, so, okay, the communications coordinator shall be permitted to make the updates with the approval of members of the executive council regarding the updates, which insinuates they'll be in communication if you need approval. Does that work?
Exactly. Yep, that works. And Lando, I didn't think you would go
Okay.
rogue or anything like that. I'm just covering for future endeavors.
Sure, yeah, that works. With that, oh, Cole, you can't see it because you have the, okay.
What's going on?
No, nothing, no worries. So does that work for everyone?
Upon the approval of members of the executive
Upon
council
the approval?
on the status of the updates. Yeah, so flipping the sentence maybe. So instead of saying, the first clause, I'll just read it out. Upon the approval of members of the executive council on the status of the updates, the communications coordinator shall be permitted to disseminate updates.
Sure, I think I got it.
I mean, I'm saying updates twice, so it's kind of redundant, but that way there's.
I think it's fine. Yeah. Upon approval from the members of the executive council,
Yeah, there we go.
the communications coordinator shall be permitted to make the updates. Sound good?
Yes, here I'll also send you that via text message.
Sure.
But that's pretty much what you said, yeah.
Upon approval from members of the executive council. Sorry, like my, oh, we just put the in different places.
Okay, so then basically, I figured that was basically the same.
Yeah. Permitted to disseminate? Sure. We can use your language. Okay, does that work for everyone? Thank you. Okay, with that, motion to, sorry, let me read it out loud. It's a formal thing. Motion to amend the bylaws, or motion that the bylaws will be amended to better describe how to write bills and resolutions via revising the current sections under Article 14 meetings and Article 23 amendments. Is that a motion?
Motion made.
Motion made by Senator Rathner, second by Senator Mattson. With that, we can do a vote by roll call.
Roll call starts now. VP Tao, yes. President of Legislative Pierre Ashley.
Yay.
Vice President of Team Development Sunny Hu.
Yeah.
Vice President of Public Relations Jackson Winters. Senator Vila.
He says yes.
Senator Stacy Bromer. Senator Sierra Senator
Yay.
Sierra Brother. Senator Madsen,
Yes.
Senator Patillo,
Yes.
Senator Raptor,
Yes.
Senator Richfields,
Yes.
Senator Valario,
Senator Villarreal, yes.
Senator West, Portage Senator Crowder,
Yes.
Reedsburg Senator Stacy Brown,
Yes.
Port Atkinson Senator Dirks,
Stay, if you like.
Oh, he had his church thing. I guess he stayed as long as he could. Do we have total?
yes, we have 13, yes, 0, nay, and 2 abstain.
Perfect, thank you very much. With that, our Senate Bill number 6, how to write legislation passes. Thank you very much. Let's get through the rest of our meeting and quickly. Non-business housekeeping, next Tuesday, our student success award, I'm sorry, new business, resolution 13, MOU for regional nursing students. I did not finish it, that's on me, so I will work on that and we'll work with Declan on that if he's free over, and if he's not, no worries, it's not binding and it's not gonna be in the notes this time. So no worries. Non-business housekeeping, student success awards, if you can come, please come Tuesday, April 22nd from 2 to 4:30 PM in room room D 1630. New senator orientation, no one's, oh, wow, you stayed the whole time. I thought you would have left. It should be May 1st, and I don't know why I didn't write that. I guess I was not thinking correctly. And then the new senator induction, that will be your ceremony. That'll be on May 8th. So thank you for staying the whole time.
Made a great impression.
We just had a lot to go through, so with that, announcements, our next meeting will be on Thursday, April 24th, in C 2402, 4:30 PM. Who wants to make an adjournment motion? I saw Senator Moreno Portillo and then VP Salifu. So with that, any objections? Okay, unanimous approval, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay.
You guys were so